15 years, 2 kids, perfect life. Then my wife's harmless friend put a baby in her. For 15 years, I thought we had the perfect marriage. We were high school sweethearts, the kind of couple people envied. But that image shattered the day I came home early and found my wife laughing and chatting with him. The man I never trusted but she insisted was just a harmless friend. M45 has been married for 15 years to wife 44. We have 2 kids and I don't know how to really start this, so here we go. I and my wife were childhood friends, not like we were close cause we really didn't notice each other much until high school. After mutual friends started dating we saw each other a lot more after that. At first we were friends and then after I grew a pair of nuts I asked her out and she said yes. We started dating during the last 2 years of high school and planned to go to the same college, but after figuring out that her school didn't offer the same program, I had to head to another one. We tried the long distance for a while but it really didn't work, so we called it quits. After I graduated from school we surprisingly bumped into each other during a visit back home. Conversation sparked up a passion of interest, so we stayed in contact, talking almost every day and reigniting each other's passion for each other. It wasn't long before she moved into my apartment. It did seem pretty fast now that I think about it, but I can't lie, it just felt right. At the moment my career was going well and she was just about to graduate, so everything seemed right. Now during this time, she had a male friend that we'll call him, and he was extremely attractive. Like, you know, this guy is a player and I kinda didn't trust him. Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't trust him at all and I hated that my girl was his friend. We had many conversations about this and she promised me, damn near swore to God himself, that she had no romantic feelings for this guy. They were strictly friends and if I really trusted her I wouldn't worry. I felt that I should trust her and thought that she wouldn't do anything to sabotage what we were building. Now let's fast forward. At this point my work and home life are competing with each other. The kids need me for this, but I have this and that to do by the end of the week. I'm not gonna lie. I made my mistake maybe leaning too hard on her or not telling her how much I appreciated her, but I always thought it was implied. So one day I came home from work and as I walked in, I heard her laughing and giggling as I headed into the kitchen. I noticed she was cleaning the dishes and him was sitting at the island, talking to her as I walked into the room. A slight quietness entered me, almost like I was the guest in my own house, but they both quickly greeted me, not suspiciously but enough to fill the silence. Now me and him weren't friends, but we had a conversation about my discomfort with him and my wife, and it wasn't long or combative, it was short and simple. Looking back now he probably got a good laugh at me, but after a few minutes he left and it was me and my wife. At this point, I don't know if she was already with him or she was just mad at me for not helping out a lot, but when I went in to get close to her or show her some intimate touch she rejected me with "I'm tired. Had the kids all day." Or she would start up a random argument about something so small. This has been happening for the last 6 months until I just got to the point and asked, is there someone else? Then all hell broke loose. She called me every name in the book and even brought up some insecurities that I had. If that wasn't a sign, she didn't talk to me for about a week after that. At this point I knew something was going on. I knew I had to figure it out, so I booked her a spa day on my day off and made sure she was completely pampered. While she left the house I and an electrician buddy placed small cameras around the house. Now, before you say, I wouldn't have done that, I would have left. You're right, but I was praying that I was going too far. I was hoping that I'd record for a month or 3 and see that I didn't get anything. Then know that I'm a dumbass with a great woman that loves me. She came home smiling and even gave me some attention. I thought that maybe the spa day was all she needed, some time to wind down. It was almost like the doting early days of us. So after 2 months of recording, I didn't find anything. I was so happy, feeling like a dumbass for putting these cameras in my house. So I stopped watching the cameras for a while. They were just there, completely out of sight, out of mind. Until one day, I got a notification on my phone telling me that something in the house was ajar, so I thought I'd check the cameras to see if one of the kids had broken something. As I flicked through the camera I stopped on my front door, noticing a black pair of shoes next to another pair. It didn't look like any of my shoes, just from what I could see, so something in me said to go to the bedroom camera. As I looked at that camera there was no one in there and the bed was still made. For some odd reason I just kept flicking through the camera. Then I caught my wife coming out of the laundry room with him behind her. She fixed her clothing and he was buckling his pants. My heart shattered as I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Everything inside of me wanted to go home and unalive both of them, I'm not gonna lie. But I thought about my kids and how losing both parents won't devastate them, so I shut everything in my office, and ashamed to say I cried and cried. I can't say how long, but long enough to where my eyes felt like they were swollen, and after that, I knew what I had to do. So as I'm heading home I'm trying to compose myself for this argument that I knew was coming. I called a friend of the family and asked if the kids could stay over for a while so that we could talk. They agreed, and as I arrived home, my wife was cooking and I could still smell that food like a prisoner's last meal as I sat down. It was silent as I looked at her. I pulled out my phone and showed her the video of her and him coming out of the laundry room and I said, "Why?" At first, she tried to lie, even with video evidence. But after a while of pursuing it, she finally broke up and told me the truth, that she and him have been sleeping together the last 3 years we've been married. She said she might be pregnant with his child and that she was sorry I had to find out like this. She said that since it was all out in the open, now she wants a divorce. It hit me hard cause I come from a broken family and never wanted my kids to feel the struggle of a separated family, but after hearing that I got up and went upstairs. I felt defeated. I worked my ass off and did all I could to place this family on a pedestal, and it felt like someone just kicked it from under me. I wanted to harm myself so badly when I figured that out, but God works in mysterious ways. Right at that moment my daughter called me and told me that she loved me and everything was going to be okay. 15 years, 2 kids, perfect life, then my wife's harmless friend put a baby in her. Update. In the 15 years I was married to my wife, we had it all, a loving relationship, 2 wonderful kids, and a life that seemed almost too good to be true. We had our ups and downs, for sure, but I believed in us, the story of high school sweethearts turned life partners. However, my trust and our world came crashing down when I discovered her affair with a man I had always been suspicious of. She always said he was a harmless friend. This revelation, followed by the shock that she might be pregnant with his child, turned my life upside down and sent me on a path I never expected to walk. After the world I knew crumbled, I decided to move forward with the divorce. Hiring a lawyer seemed like a straightforward step. I figured the easiest path would be to split our lives down the middle. But when I sat down in his office he let me know that because of my wife's infidelity, the scales of the divorce could tip significantly in my favor. My anger and sadness still stabbing made me take the latter option. Now I'm not sure how I feel about it. Let me explain. The legal proceedings were an emotional roller coaster, but the outcome was starkly clear. I ended up with the house, most of our shared possessions, and, to my surprise, she was ordered to pay alimony and child support. Our incomes were roughly equal, but her decision to start a new life with her baby daddy is going to be footed by the harmless friend for the most part. She married the harmless friend, the ladies' man who had shattered a family. They had the baby, a new beginning for her, and honestly I wasn't I'd say happy for her, but glad it seemed to work out for the both of us. But then last month, he vanished, leaving her alone and struggling. The man who seemed to have it all, the charm, the looks, the allure, was just as he seemed, a stupid player. By the way, this is not the first family he has broken up. He is a real piece of shit, this guy. Not too long after my phone lit up with her name, I hadn't heard from her since the divorce was finalized. Her voice cracked as she spoke, a mix of regret and desperation. She said it was the biggest mistake of her life, leaving me for him. She begged for my forgiveness, for a chance to make things right. I sat there listening to the woman I loved, feeling anger, betrayal, but also an ache for the woman I loved. It's hard to watch someone you cared about suffer, even if it's by their own doing. But can I just forget everything and take her back? After everything that's happened, I'm not sure if I can.